There are a lot of amazing online lessons, and I'm really proud to be a part of this community of online educators and great players. To introduce you to a few that I think make really great content, then I asked them to make a short video on an exercise that was really game-changing for them, and in that way you can maybe discover some new people to follow and learn something in the process. It's likely that you know Adam's YouTube channel, but otherwise, even if you don't know him, you probably heard him play because he's worked with so many famous people. I really love his YouTube lessons because of his style that's sort of thoughtful and deep, and not only about playing guitar, but also about making music. His channel also has some really great interviews with Bruce Forman and Peter Bernstein and people like that. There's a lot to check out. This video is on how to learn jazz chord and also a more efficient way to think about them.
When I first started learning jazz, I would open up the real book and I would look at the chords of a tune. I thought I was supposed to play all of the notes of the chord every time it came around. And I thought I was supposed to know every inversion all over the fretboard. I eventually embraced a more stripped down way of looking at jazz harmony on the guitar. Most of the time, I'll take the middle two strings, the D and the G string, and I'll play the third and the seventh of whatever the chord is on those two strings. The opening of Stella by Starlight could sound like this. When I want a more full-bodied sound, I can simply add the root note beneath the third and the seventh. When I want to make my comping a little more melodic and also stay out of the bass player's way, instead of adding a note beneath the third and seventh, I'll add a note on top.
Later in this video, you'll see Sandra Sherman taking sort of the same shell voicings but then applying them to soloing, which also works really well. The next one is Richard Peña, which is sort of a recent discovery for me, but he has some great lessons and some great content. He's an amazing player. You can find a lot of stuff of his on Instagram and on YouTube. This is about bebop.
Hey everybody, today I wanted to share a concept that revolutionized my playing. You can anticipate any melodic idea using chromatic enclosures to instantly access the bebop sound. Simply put, a chromatic enclosure is when we anticipate our target note with chromatic notes from below and above. Let's try the following exercise. Take the C major triad and anticipate each note with a double chromatic enclosure like this. The trick is to use this same pattern to anticipate any idea. You can even make the C major triad sound like an incredible bebop line. By adding chromatic enclosures, you'll make any musical idea sound bebop instantly.
You may have noticed that I'm not in the jazz bunker today. I'm out of the basement because I'm on tour in Spain. And I thought I would take a walk and then try and see if I can make a video for you guys. Let me know in the comments which one of these exercises you think is the best. And also, if there's a channel that you think everybody should check out, let us know about that as well. Next up is Mikko, and I'm sure you've seen him on the channel before. And of course, also his amazing channel. I really like how he really digs in deep to some topics and also is not afraid to cover some more modern things, like this topic, which is about playing, but also hearing the diminished scale.
Here's a tip on how to learn the diminished scale. Let's do C diminished. This is a diminished scale. Now, this scale is pretty tricky to internalize and to hear it. So what I want you to do, think of the first four notes as coming from C minor. C, D, E flat, F. Now go up a half step and think F sharp minor. F sharp, G sharp, A, B. And then four notes from C minor. F sharp minor. And so on and so forth. I find this easier to hear. I can even sing that. Do 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 da do 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 da da. And if you add a slide before, you get instant Schofield.
Quist is an amazing player. I always love the intro solos on his backing tracks, and he's also really just cutting to the core with this video because this exercise is about rhythm and timing. You probably also want to check out his lo-fi project on Spotify.
All right, so here's an exercise that I love. Basically here to help you play stronger solos and sort of switch your mind away a bit from thinking just arpeggios and scales and licks and so forth, and just focus more on making strong musical statements. So the way I love to practice this is pick a strong rhythmic pattern. Let's say, for example, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna set up a metronome or a loop, that works too, and you're gonna fill out those rhythms with notes, and also create a harmonic framework. So let's say that we're in A minor, for example, okay? And 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so just taking it simple. Let's develop it a little further. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Hope you'll have loads of fun with it. Happy jamming.
Chase Maddox is also sort of a recent discovery for me. You might know him from jazz memes on Instagram, which he runs together with his brother. If you don't know it, check it out. It's super funny. But you also want to check out his YouTube channel, which has some really great videos, especially when it comes to technique that's really geared towards jazz, and also some very solid vocabulary, which is kind of also what this exercise is about.
Thanks for the introduction, Jen. So guys, I want to talk to you today about this exercise called scarpeggios, which is really just a fun way of saying scales and arpeggios. We'll do this over C major 7, and the idea is just that we ascend through an arpeggio, so C major 7, and then on the descending portion, we only do 2 notes per string from the scale associated with that chord. C major 7, we're going to do C major scale. So up the arpeggio, 2 notes per string down. It really can be any 2 notes, except we tend to avoid the 4th for the major scale, but 2 notes from that scale and you can descend. And this really gives you 2 main benefits. We build our fretboard awareness because we do this in all of the 5 positions, and we also get to work on our speed. So when we get through this, because of the 2 notes per string on the descending, we can really start to work on our picking so that it's even all throughout. So I go into a lot of these kind of topics on my channel. Hope you guys check it out. Thanks again, Jens, for having me.
Sandra probably doesn't really need an introduction from me because her YouTube channel already speaks for itself. Lots of great lessons, some really solid chord melody arrangements that are also playable. But in this video, she is going over an exercise, starting with the guide tones that Adam also talked about, but then applying it to soloing.
Here's how to practice dominant 7 chains that are half bar, like this one. You focus on the 3rd and the 7th of each chord because here's the 3rd and the 7th. They lead perfectly well into the next 7th and 3rd of the next chord. And then you go via the 3rd and the root to the B major 7 resolution. So that's easy. Now let's develop this a little bit further and go via the 5th. So 7, 5th, 3rd of the chord, lead into the 7th and 3rd of the next chord. Now an enclosure to the next, the E flat 7, and you start it all over again. So this is the pattern. And resolution via the 3rd and the root. That's easy.
Alon Barkley is another recent discovery. He's actually also kind of new to YouTube, but he makes really solid videos, and his chord melody playing and the way he works with chords is just amazing. So definitely check that out. You probably also want to check out his recent solo album on Spotify.
So this is how one of my first teachers helped me to unlock bebop vocabulary in the beginning. Here is a triad. C major triad. Here's the first inversion. Here's the second inversion. And then what happens if you start adding chromatics to one note out of the triad? Let's do it with the first one. Let's do it on the first inversion. Let's do it on the second inversion. Let's change the order of the notes. Let's put a chromatic note on the second note. Let's play backwards. Let's add 2 chromatics on the first note, 2 from above. 1 above and 1 below. 2 from above. 2 from below.
One exercise that was really game-changing for me and really helped my phrasing and my swing feel was to learn solos by ear and then play along with the recording to really get it into my system. Now that sounds really difficult, but actually you can start with some easy solos so that you have to only check out maybe a 2-chorus blues in F in a medium tempo and then work your way from there. If you want some suggestions on good solos to start with, then check out this video where I go over 5 great solos to begin with. Some of them are really easy.